Hello, I'm Reverend Michael Mugford, and I'm part of the ministry team at Cole Harbour Woodside United Church, along with the Reverend Krista Elizabeth Wynne, and I'm pleased to share this reflection with you today. I'm standing in our Serenity Garden, and if you've been following these videos over the last number of months, you probably saw a bit of a change in the way the garden looks. And here we are in November, and the green is mostly gone, and the flowers have gone, and we are in a rather bare and cold time. And it's about this time and this change that I want to reflect on today. When I entered into ministry, I discovered the need to live within several calendars, all at the same time. First, our everyday 12-month calendar that tells us it is November. Second, the church calendar. Sometimes that mimics the school calendar. It runs from September until late May or June. A liturgical calendar that begins with Advent in December over the next couple of weeks and ends with the reign of Christ, usually around the last week of November. And these calendars sometimes mesh and other times they don't. And as if that's not stressful enough, the schedules of my partner and our children, literally, we have to keep a computer program to avoid losing an event or an appointment. Our calendars and our timetables and schedules are important to us because without them we wouldn't remember. When we have appointments or dates with friends and loved ones, we might miss important medications or tests. We might find ourselves in a conflicted situation, having promised to be in two different places at the same time. And it's because we're dominated by the concept of time, and yet we're often aware of time's passing. We notice far too late that it's either passing too quickly or too slowly for our liking. We as humans created the measure of time, and yet we have become a slave to it in ways and its observance. Sometimes, in terms of faith, we try to subject God to our need to have things timely and orderly. I love the phrase often placed in the realm of God's work in our world. We see it in Scripture time and time again, in the fullness of time. Isn't that beautiful? We say, God, when will you do this? And God answers, in the fullness of time. God, when will war end? And God answers, in the fullness of time. The ancients asked God, when will the Messiah come? And God spoke through the prophets and through the gospel writers and answered, in the fullness of time. Our liturgical year is quickly coming to a close, and in the next couple of weeks we will observe the reign of Christ time. We think about the time that has gone by and the times that are ahead, and for some the time ahead is fearful. What will the pandemic continue to look like? What will happen to our economy? What's in the future for my family? We can't see the future, but I don't think it is to be feared. Rather, I believe it is to be considered a wondrous place waiting to be explored. The prophet Isaiah had a vision of God in which God holds out a vision of the future, one that's not to be feared, but to be looked at with awe and wonder and hope. The prophet envisions that everything we love about the earth will be made new, even heaven will be made new. However we might have thought of it or imagined it, everything will be renewed to be aligned with God and God's vision of creation. Isaiah says that the way things are not always going to be this way. People will be free to live in their homes without fear of bombs or COVID. People will be able to plant food without concerns of pesticides and GMOs. We will live to see a harmony within creation that is so deep that the oceans will not rise, the polar ice caps will not melt because of global warming. Isaiah's vision is so deep that he dreams that peace will be so infused within creation that even hunter and prey will be able to live safely side by side. For if surely a lion and a lamb can live together, humans and humans can do the same. As Christians, we see the promises of Jesus fulfilling some of those visions, not merely through God's actions, but our actions as well. When we who call Jesus the Christ of God follow his call to love God, to love neighbor, and to love self, then we shall have made another path along the step toward God's realm. We will be living into the fullness of time. And as time goes forward, may we see God's time in our own. Just some reflection for today. Peace.